Hi there, I'm Amy Hamilton with Hamilton Native Outpost. We're here at the Bullhead Catfish Pond this morning getting ready to move cattle into this field. This is a diverse native grassland, and a diverse native grassland has many plants growing in it, and we like to get plants from what we call 4 functional diversity groups. And these are cool season grasses, warm season grasses, wildflowers, and legumes. In a diverse native grassland, we might have up to 40, 50 species in it. It's mid-April here, and we're going to walk through this grassland looking at these different plants growing today to see how we are filling the solar collector. We've gotten to where we take a look at the land as a solar collector, and what we want to do is soak up as much sunshine as possible, and we want to show you how diverse natives do that best. Here we have a warm season grass from last year. The residue from it left. So you can see that it's not growing. This here cool season blade and the sedge, sedges are cool season as well, coming up through that old growth. And in the background you see here the taller wild rye. So you can see this wild rye here on our Missouri forage and grassland stick is approaching about 12 inches high. Our goal is to graze these grasses is just to take the first bite off of these cool season grasses, because we're wanting to leave some blades so that we can start to photosynthesize and grow this forage back real quick. Here in the early spring, when the cool seasons are just beginning to grow, we find that moving quickly is a good technique to encourage regrowth of these cool season grasses. Here we have one of our wildflowers that's just starting to grow. This is an Oxide Sunflower, and you can see its leaves are more horizontal. Again, trying to collect more sunlight. The wildflower leaves, many of them do have more horizontal leaves that and as the season progresses, these stems elongate, coming up to collect more sunlight in between, these grasses that tend to be a little bit more vertical in nature. So you can see we have some warm season grasses here left in this pasture, and we've gotten to where we try not to let this bother us, because these warm season grasses can make good nesting habitat for quail underneath it. And then later, throughout the growing season, as the cattle graze, these forages, this residue gets stomped to the ground, and as it's stomped to the ground, it makes an effective mulch. This mulch is important to keep the water that we get in the ground. Just like mulching your garden, it stops water from wicking out of the soil into back out into the atmosphere. So we've come to look at the land, as a solar collector, and we are trying to maximize photosynthesis in our collector throughout the year. And here in Missouri, to do that, we need these cool season grasses here early in the spring and later in the fall. And we also need the warm season grasses in the summer to do that. The more we can photosynthesize, the more forage we're making, and that's what we're trying to do. To make high quality forage, it takes an actively growing plant. So you can see that these warm season grasses would not be good to graze today. That's leftover, and it just doesn't look very palatable. And the cool season grasses are what they will be selecting today. However, later in the season, in the summertime, the warm season grasses are actively growing, and warm season grasses are actually very high in energy, and cattle crave this energy, and it's what helps the cattle to put on fat, as they during the summertime as they graze. So we'll be back here later. As the season progresses, we want to come back and show you how these different grasses and wildflowers are photosynthesizing and growing to maximize photosynthesis throughout the year. So stay tuned. Hi, we're back here at the Bullhead Catfish Pond, and it's May 31st. It's been 42 days since we were here with the livestock when we took our last video. So we're going to be grazing this again here fairly soon, and you can see we have lots of palatable grass growing with very few seed heads on the grass. The main thing in our solar collector here is the wild rye. We have several species of wild rye. There's an early maturing rye and some here that mature later. Sedges and other early blooming cool season grasses such as June grass and wedge grass are important to the spring solar collector. As we go into summer, the cool season grasses will begin to put their energy into seed production and be less palatable, whereas the warm season grasses are just taking off. This warm season grass, big blue stem, is 24 to 30 inches tall. Here's an Oxide Sunflower. You can see it's grown a lot since April when it was only just a couple inches tall. The plant has bolted and come upright along with the rise so that the leaves could keep gathering sunlight. This plant is also palatable to livestock. We'll graze this soon and take another bite off of it. We'll be back later in the summer to see how the cool seasons are taking a break and the warm seasons are actively growing.